The basement.
The basement.
No!
The basement.
Oh, the basement.
I know that.
The basement.
Oh boy.
No!
Oh boy.
Am I dead?
The basement.
But nobody ever says that.
The basement.
The basement.
Wait.
The basement.
Hello everyone and welcome to The Basement. Which, this is the last episode not in the basement. That being said, I'm Stan.
I'm Guy.
And we're here to do part 2 of this month's July 2016 Wrestling Roundtable. This section is going to be about the brand split and the upcoming draft. Just our thoughts and opinions on it. Guy's going to be leading the discussion because he's got the best notes. That being said, without further ado, let's move forward. The brand split is going to occur July 19th, 9 days from now. It is the 10th of July, 2016. So we have a little over a week. That being said, lots can change from now to then, but we'll start discussing it, and you guys can feel free to comment down below.
And this obviously takes place before Battleground, so there's a lot of things up in the air with the pay-per-view as well, with the draft, one of which is being 2 belts. Are they going to split 2 belts, one for each brand? If Dean retains, where is he going to go?
And this is something that I have actually, I've seen a little bit on as far as, are we going to have 2 titles? And one of the things was, one of the hot items on the internet was on Raw, when they didn't call the title its usual name, is that were they tipping their hand a little bit, showing that they were going to title split. And it becomes does the title holder work both shows? Because that's an awful lot of work.
That is an awful lot of work. That's 3 straight days. Well, if you count a pay-per-view on a Sunday, that's 3 straight days of.
And that's
4-hour
you're working hard, and that's that's tough on a guy. That being said, I wouldn't be surprised if it happened, but I would like to see 2 titles.
Yeah. I know one thing we discussed was the like a unified, like a third.
We had actually discussed this. This is just an idea that we tossed around one evening. We talked about there being a Smackdown champion and a Raw champion, and then a unified champion, the WWE champion per se, and the only challengers for that WWE title are one of the 2 champions. It gives you yet another belt to put on one of your talented guys. It gives you something to draw heat. And it also allows you to open up a lot more matches for guys to take that top title. You have, let's just take the 3 guys that are going to be in the Battlegrounds pay-per-view. Dean Ambrose retains the title, and he keeps the WWE title. And Seth Rollins gets drafted to Raw, and he gets the Raw title. And Roman Reigns gets drafted to SmackDown, and God forbid he gets the SmackDown title. And then that next month, or at SummerSlam, Seth Rollins challenges Dean Ambrose. And Seth Rollins wins the championship. Seth Rollins came off Raw, Dean Ambrose goes onto the Raw roster, and then maybe you have an 8-man tournament for that World Championship. It gives you a reason why matches are happening. It gives you a lot of speculation on the internet. Whether that would work or not, I don't know. Because you might end up with a lot of the same over and over. But
yeah, well, I like the 2-belt idea. And another thing as far as WWE tipping their hand as to what's to come, is there are wrestlers being advertised to appear on SmackDown after the draft.
Which is something that isn't unusual. We've seen it in the past with just blurbs on Ticketmasters and sites like that. So that being said, I know you have one for sure that we saw.
Yeah, Dean Ambrose.
He will be on SmackDown.
That is
that we're guaranteeing it. What does our guarantee mean? jack shit.
Yep.
But we're guaranteeing it.
So what does that mean for the triple threat match at Battleground? If you want to hear further discussion on that, well, kind of further discussion, go watch our
Part 1 of this video. Part 1, Battleground. But don't go there yet, because we got a lot more to cover.
Still doing this one. Yeah, other wrestlers are being advertised are like Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson and various other people, but
And it makes sense.
New Day. New Day was another one.
It makes sense because you're gonna have to advertise for your show.
Yeah.
You can't just be like, come see SmackDown. Not sure who's gonna be there.
Yeah. And then another thing, keeping on the whole 2-belt thing, is 2 women's belts.
And I have a whole lot of opinions on this.
Yeah. Which the rumor is Sasha Banks is going to SmackDown and Charlotte is going to Raw.
My opinions on this, which are very vehement and I'm very outspoken, which is kind of strange because I don't really have an opinion on the women's wrestling that's going on in the WWE right now, is there just isn't enough depth in that women's roster of really incredibly top-end talent to have 2 belts.
People-wise, there's...
Yeah, the people aren't there.
Yeah.
That being said, this is how I think it should happen. Raw, women go to Raw. That's where the women's division is. Which is fine. You keep them all together, you keep it competitive, you start booking it like they book the men, you have actual women's wrestling. SmackDown, you play on the Cruiserweight Challenge that's going on, and you have a bunch of those guys, you sign them up if you can, and you have a Cruiserweight division on SmackDown. You add a Cruiserweight belt. I would love to watch it. The Cruiserweights were always great, and I realized that we had a lot of guys in the Cruiserweight division in the late 90s on WCW that were incredibly talented. But I think that they're out there still. I mean, you might not have the talent of your Eddie Guerreros and Chris Jerichos and Dean Malenkos, but these guys are very, very talented, and I can't say that they're not that talented because I just haven't seen enough of them. The Cruiserweight Challenge, something that I very much look forward to watching. One other thing, just to hit on the title split, is I had also heard that there was rumors that Spinneroonie, Booker T had said that there was going to be 2 sets of tag titles. Tag team wrestling, my absolute favorite form of wrestling. That I'd be for, especially with the growth of the tag division.
Oh, yeah.
So, I spoke a lot there.
Getting back into the title hunt, Roman Reigns is suspended. He will still be suspended come the draft.
I believe his suspension is up, the 21st?
Something like that. So he's not going to be there. He's not going to be on TV. So what are they going to do? Are they going to draft him without him being there? Are they going to leave him off of the draft and play into Battleground somehow?
It's an interesting place to be, and how does that affect his position with the company? You have something as big as a brand split going on, and you're suspended. I can't imagine people are happy about that.
Well, not to mention that you were the reason why you dropped the belt is because you got suspended.
Yeah.
I mean, you're the face of the company, finally, after you got pushed down the throat of people, and then you get suspended. Yeah. And you have to drop the belt, which was, good.
It was good for us. It was good for the fans.
Yeah. Money in the Bank was really good. Rollins cleanly beat him to drop the belt anyway.
Yeah.
And
then Ambrose cashing in. It was a great Money in the Bank.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens with Roman Reigns.
He can go back down to Florida.
I think that ECW drafts him.
Third brand split from 2009.
Yeah, just send him somewhere else. I would not be sad for him never to be on television again.
So meanwhile, while Roman Reigns goes back down to NXT or Florida Championship Wrestling or whatever it is, That'll make room for NXT Callups.
And NXT call-ups are all but a certainty.
Oh, yeah.
I sat down and I looked at the roster. And you start looking at it at first, it's like, wow, that's a lot of guys. It really isn't. Because once you start figuring in that tag division, not that many guys on the roster, especially to carry 2 live shows.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, we're certain we're going to see some call-ups. And, Guy, where were your thoughts as far as call-ups?
Well, Finn Balor for sure. He's done his stuff in NXT. He's won the title. He's defended the title. He lost the title. I think he's pretty much done with
I think
NXT.
He's done what he can do in NXT. He is he's a seasoned veteran. Even though he's not a WWE seasoned veteran, he's a seasoned veteran.
Mm-hmm.
He's incredibly talented, and that means that it's probably going to be a likely call-up.
I think he'll be the AJ Styles type, where he was incredibly good in the Indies, and he didn't know the WWE camera layout and stuff like that.
Right.
But that's the thing they did with AJ Styles was they pulled him from all that and thrusted him right into the main roster.
Yep.
Which I think Finn Balor has got down way, way better than AJ Styles. So
Some other names that fall into that list?
maybe Samoa Joe.
Samoa Joe, I mean, he's a potential. He has that talent.
I think maybe keep him down there to get someone more established for the title
Right, I agree.
before yanking out your title holder and being like, well, NXT doesn't have a title holder anymore.
And you could always do the Kevin Owens angle with him.
Yeah.
And he's plenty seasoned as well.
And then your 2 top Japanese stars, and Hideo Itami and Shinsuke Nakamura.
Nakamura, I think, is definitely ready. Not that he spent a whole lot of time there, but once again, a well-seasoned veteran with all his time, and incredibly talented. Itami, I think the big thing that holds him back is coming off the injury.
Yep.
That's the one thing I could see keeping him down there.
And then you got your women, and Bailey.
And I've heard that Bailey is going to stay down there just for the time being, and hopefully they do keep her down there, because ultimately you're going to want to keep some guys down there until you get things figured out, so that you have some of the star power to bring up later to kind of keep pushing the brand.
So then you have Nia Jax and Asaka? I don't know.
I don't remember.
Japanese lady.
So racist. But no, you do have, and I mean you have several people down there that could be eventual call-ups.
Blue Pants. You can bring up Blue Pants. That is a legit gimmick. Blue Pants from the clearance rack at Kmart.
I could rock that gimmick.
Yeah, that's a legit thing. So
I could even afford that gimmick. So, although Kmart's no longer open.
Yep.
Other thoughts on the brand split?
As far as covering call-ups, maybe they're going to sign people that have already been with the WWE.
So looking at some returns, I know you've got a list of names, and I've got a few that you don't have. So
2 big ones would be Goldberg and Kurt Angle.
And we have opinions on that. I mean, as far as Goldberg, I think that you get the big pop of Goldberg. He gets announced, he comes out. You've got a guy who was stiff in the ring before, and I'm not saying that he's not a talented athlete, but he was stiff then. Now he's getting up there in age. Yeah, he looks amazing still, but can he perform? Do you need another part-timer? I think that's where your struggle comes in with him. I don't really want to see him.
No.
But it'll be what it'll be. Kurt Angle, however, I think is a little bit more viable. And I think viable as a part-timer, and here's why. Is I think you partner Kurt Angle, and this has been on the rumors, so it's not something I came up with. I'm not trying to claim it. But I think you partner Kurt Angle with American Alpha, and you do New Team Angle. And I think it would be really fun to watch. You use Kurt Angle as kind of the mouthpiece. You have him wrestle once in a while. Yeah, he's broken his neck at least once, maybe multiple times. Yeah, he's had all these problems, these injuries, he's older, but he's still got it in him, and he's talented.
He still wrestles.
Yeah.
Not like Goldberg, who hasn't wrestled for 10 plus years.
Yeah.
So, I mean...
Well, and ultimately, you know what? Yeah, Goldberg was an athlete, but Kurt Angle was a wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
And he's still got it. I've watched some of his stuff more recently. I mean, in the last 2 years. And he's still impressive. So I think using him as kind of a manager mouthpiece with a little bit of wrestling makes sense.
Yeah. Another name is Carlito, which I'm not thrilled about because he was one of the reasons why I stopped watching WWE in like the early 2000s. So
I had to actually go and look up footage of Carlito because I'm relatively new back to the professional wrestling scene, and I had no idea who he was. I'm not saying that the guy hasn't changed, that they couldn't reinvent his gimmick, whatever it might be. But what I saw, I wasn't a huge fan of. But if the guy is talented, you gotta add depth.
great wrestling family, terrible gimmick.
Yeah.
Another one, Drew McIntyre. I know he got released from the company, but not for anything terrible, so
Yeah. There's always that potential.
he could always come back.
I believe that he is with TNA right now. I could be wrong. But there's always that potential.
Mm-hmm. Another one is Shane Helms, formerly of the Spirit Squad and also the Hurricane.
And the Hurricane was one of the few things that I caught in the span when I wasn't watching. And I loved the Hurricane. One of the best comedy wrestling acts I had seen, which was incredibly enjoyable. I wouldn't have a problem seeing him back.
No, I think it would be good.
Yeah, he's a talented guy. Was that all on your list?
Yeah.
I believe a couple of the others that I had just seen out in the rumors. I had seen Rey Mysterio pop up. He's older. You could use him as enhancement talent if you did a cruiserweight title.
Yeah, he could be beneficial in the cruiserweight. I don't see him drawing the big main title draw anymore.
No, but he's still a name, and he's known. He's very talented.
And he killed a guy.
He did kill a guy. That's got to give you something, right?
Yeah.
Maybe they bring him back, and his mask has the teardrop. No, Mysterio's a guy who's definitely talented, but once again, you're dealing with somebody who's getting older, and maybe if you're using him to develop some young talent, so be it.
As long as he doesn't feud with Alberto Del Rio, because they're both Mexican, and that seems like a thing to do for the WWE.
Yeah. We're not racist, WWE.
Yeah.
Another name I had seen was Morrison.
Yeah, he's Lucha Underground right now.
He is indeed. So there's always the potential that he might show up. I mean, very talented guy, fun to watch. He held championships. So there's a lot of potential out there.
On top of returns and call-ups, they should try to sign. Well, they have people that have signed that haven't shown up yet.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of guys that are sitting in limbo, so to speak, and maybe they're sitting in limbo for this. I know Rude was signed, but it sounded like when he did his interviews, he was signed for NXT, not for WWE. But that being said, that could be smoke and mirrors. Mm-hmm. Not Eric Young. Eric Young.
Yeah.
The other TNA guy.
Yep, the bearded dude, the Daniel Bryan of TNA.
Yeah. He's signed. There's another guy he's got experience. Very talented. Tommy End, who, other than a few videos that I've looked up, I knew nothing about. But appears to be okay. And he's a known name.
Yeah.
So you've got some guys that are just kind of sitting out there, hanging out in limbo, that you can bring in.
And if the WWE wants to go grab more talent, they can grab Eric Cannon. He's a good independent wrestler. He wrestles in Minnesota, which is where we are. So, I mean, he bounces around from place to place.
There you go. There's your Eric Cannon plug of the week. Or, I mean, if they really want to go crazy, you could sign us.
Yeah, there
We
we go.
have no wrestling experience. We're old. We're brittle. And we look horrible. So,
I'm willing to take a bump or two.
yeah, I guess. When I was younger, if you'd assigned me when I was 19, you could have thrown me off the top of that cage. I wouldn't have cared. Now I'm a little bit more breakable.
Yeah.
But no, I think that moving forward, we definitely, I think the draft will be interesting. I think there's a lot of things that go into it that could be it could be interesting to see these guys show up. So, let us know what you think. If you have something to add it to the comments down below. If you like what we have to say, hit the like. We always love seeing likes. It means we're doing something good. Even if you don't like our ideas, but just like us. Like it. And if you want to see more, hit that subscribe button. This is part 2 of 3 for this month, and next month on the 15th, we'll be dropping another series. Thank you for watching. Stop in and see us again.